What was the Spring Offensive on the WWI Western Front? Imagine a massive push by one side trying to turn the tide of a long, stalemated war. That's what the Spring Offensive was all about. It was Germany's big gamble in 1918 to break through the enemy lines before the Allies could fully respond. The war had been dragging on 4 years, with soldiers stuck in trenches and little movement. Germany saw an opening because Russia had just signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, pulling out of the war and freeing up German troops from the Eastern Front. At the same time, the United States had entered the war in 1917 and was sending fresh troops and supplies to help the Allies. Germany wanted to strike quickly and decisively before the Americans arrived in full force. The offensive kicked off on March 21, 1918, and involved 4 main attacks called operations. The biggest was Operation Michael, which aimed to punch a hole in the British lines along an 80-kilometer stretch from La Fère to Arras. German troops used new tactics called infiltration, where small, well-trained groups bypassed strong points and slipped behind enemy lines. This allowed them to cause chaos and disrupt supply routes. The Germans hoped that by breaking through, they could split the British and French forces, capture important towns like Amiens and Hazebrouck, and force the Allies into retreat. They believed the British were more vulnerable than the French and thought a quick breakthrough might end the war in their favor. At first, the attack made significant gains. The Germans gained territory and created confusion among the Allies, but the offensive didn't succeed in ending the war. The German army stretched itself too thin and became exhausted. The lack of clear goals meant they missed chances to push further. As the months went on, the Allies regrouped and launched counterattacks. By mid-1918, the tide turned, and the Germans found themselves on the defensive. The Spring Offensive was a bold move that showed how warfare was shifting from static trench fighting to more mobile tactics. It also reflected how global events, like Russia leaving the war and America joining, influenced the final stages of the conflict. Ultimately, the offensive failed to deliver a quick victory, and it set the stage for Germany's defeat later that year.